Hello there, toy collector friends and Batman fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I am the Triple TC, that's the time traveling toy collector, and this is the Batman Batcycle as released as part of the Eaglemoss Batman Automobilia collection. And this is the cycle as it appeared in the classic, as we can see here, the classic TV series, as well as making an appearance in the classic Batman movie featuring Adam West and Burt Ward as Batman and Robin, respectively. So again, as ever, we have the model presented in the clear crystal case. It comes with well, I was going to call it a bit of a display platform, but they are variable in quality, and this one has no additional features to it apart from the printed base and the lenticular background, which we'll take a look at in hand in a second. But first of all, this is how it appears in its collection state, and actually it's an interesting sort of, for me it's an interesting model because it's a model of two parts, and I mean that literally rather than just because there are two parts to it, as in the bike and the go-kart sidecar element that Robin would ride in, and that is that the model itself looks very well presented. It's very well painted, very well structured. The detailing is very nice, which we'll take a closer look at in a second. But all of this, but there's also something oddly cheap and plasticky, and I hate saying it because, you know, so far I've really enjoyed this range, but there's something very cheap and plasticky about the motorcycle wheels and that sort of vat metal chrome exhaust. There's just something, I mean, I don't know whether it's triggering some sort of memory of old school toy motorcycles from the 70s and the 80s. That's a possibility, believe me. But there's just something about that sort of colour scheme and that design that makes me think of something cheap and nasty and plastic. And it could just be me. You know, I fully appreciate that doesn't mean that everyone's experience of this is the same. But it really, just make sure the bat symbol stays on the lid there. But it really does sort of almost affect me on a I can't call it an unconscious bias level because I'm very conscious of it, but it almost affects me in that way that I'm going, this is somewhat disappointing, because it really is, you know, well, it really is a little bit plasticky looking around the spokes and the exhaust. But to be honest, if from this point of view, that's really my only gripe. Let's pop it back down on here and get the case lid off, because then that way, and this should just come away. Yeah, of course we lose the backdrop in the process, but that's to be expected. I can pick that up now and we'll take a quick look at it. So here is the lenticular backdrop. It's photographic rather than cartoony this time around, and it has that slight sort of 3D element to it, being as it is a lenticular design, and it is of the Batcave, with the fake stop sign or no entry sign in place over there. And you can see a little bit of the effect of that as I bend it gently for the camera, but all in all, it's just a sort of stock photo of the Batcave. It's not where, I don't believe, it's where the Batbike was hidden during the movie, so in terms of relevance, it's a little bit not so relevant. But here is the main event. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit more for us to really see what we can see with this particular model. And as I said before, the design of the model, the paint deco overall of the model, and I'm particularly enamoured with Robin's sidecar. You can see there, I'll take it all around. This is a bit of a shame with the display box, is that this side is obscured because we have the backdrop there, so you can't really see this very well from our position when we're looking at the bike on display. Which is a shame because I think it's really nicely done. I love the bat symbols, very 1960s, the R, very 1960s. This light here, beautiful. We've got the triple exhaust here, the bat symbol again. You can kind of get a sense, actually, even though it doesn't detach, I hasten to point out, but you can see the wheels of the Robin buggy there, and how it would come flying out and get Robin to the appropriate location, ready to, I believe, get onto the Batcopter, as I recall, certainly in the movie. But yeah, here's that sort of silvery chrome element on that bike that is not really, you know, cutting it for me, and I don't know why. I'll be honest, when I'm feeling it, it doesn't actually feel like that nasty cheap plastic that I'm imagining it reminds me of, but it doesn't help that the aesthetics and the optics of it, that's what it reminds me of, so I do struggle to get over that. We've got a gauge there inside the sort of driving cockpit, beautifully pulled out detailing around the petrol tank there. We've got the handlebars with the brakes there. There's cabling that is really effectively done. I mean, the attention to detail, even down to the padded seat there. There's the engine, there's the Kickstarter. There's a lot of excellent detail here, really excellent detail. So it is, as I say, it's a real shame that I have this bias with the silver plastic, and maybe some of you looking at this now will know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of those sort of rather, by modern standards, quite rubbishy plastic bikes or pseudo toy motorcycles from officially back in the day. You know, they were not good, they were cheap, and it just, that's what I'm seeing in that aspect of the design. Everything else I really like, so please don't think for a second that I'm saying that I do not like it. I absolutely do. I think it's absolutely stunning as a design and as a bike and everything else. And actually, maybe the more I'm, you know, looking at it in hand and a bit more closely, I'm getting over myself a little bit more. But yeah, maybe, I hope you can see what I mean. You're not just sitting there thinking, this guy is nuts. Although you're entitled to think that, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, so this is the Bat bike. And as I say, I do think it really is a fantastic entry into the Batman Automobilia range. There are a few Batcycles of different types, of different periods, just as there are a few different Batcopters as well, and of course a ton of Batmobiles and a few other Batboats and other Bat vehicles that are slightly off the beaten track, which are the ones I think we might look at next. But if you do have any preferred Bat vehicles that you know were released as part of the Automobilia collection, drop me a message in the comments below, and I'm more than happy to make a feature of that moving forwards when I'm looking at these models, as I did get hold of all of the ones that were released. So please do that. Whilst you're there in the comments, why not like the video and also drop a subscription to the channel, and that way you'll never miss a future one. I am working my way to my next key milestone in terms of videos, so every subscription really helps, and I'm very grateful for it. It's a small click for yourself, but a huge click for the channel, so that would be fantastic if you could do that. So, did you collect these Automobilia models back in the day? Do you wish that you had? Maybe you can pick some of them up, or have picked some of them up at conventions or toy fairs where you've seen them on display. I think they averaged for around about $9.99 an issue, if memory serves, for the basic releases, not special editions. About $9.99 an issue, and I think there's definitely a bit of an increase in terms of the secondary market around that, but I couldn't hand on heart give you an idea of what it is, and I think it would probably be quite variable from seller to seller. But yeah, I think this is really nice. I'm just looking at the Robin's little cockpit there with the silver handlebars, and again, beautiful design of the handlebars and the brake systems for his buggy. You can see the wheels there for his buggy. I just think it's a really well designed representation of this really quite key, just move that along a little bit for a bit of backdrop fun. It's a really quite key entry into the Batman vehicle arsenal, as it were. And I really like it. I think it's fun. I think it's evocative of the 60s and the period. It also does scream comic book in a way that perhaps we don't get so much in some of the more modern televised comic book retellings, or indeed big screen outings for comic book heroes. There's something a bit kitsch about some of the, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way at all, about some of the vehicles that we can see included, and I'm not entirely sure that that translates to the big screen. And as a result of that, great though some of the vehicles that we get on the big screen are, I don't know that they quite have that iconic nature that something like this would and would retain over time. But that's just my opinion, and you know what? You've probably got yours, and you are entitled to it. So, you know, opinion away. Thank you so much for spending the last 11 or 12 minutes with me. I've been the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You've been a fantastic audience, and this has been the Batman Classic TV series Batcycle, as produced by Eaglemoss as part of their Batman Automobilia range. I very much hope you'll stick around, check out some of the other playlists and see if there's other things that particularly fancy, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Once again, please don't forget to click like and subscribe to the channel, and it just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care, bye bye for now.